March 14th, 2019. We left the Sea of Galilee and journeyed northward to Tel Dan. The largest of the four sources of the Jordan River, the Dan Spring, emerges at the base of Mount Hermon next to Tel Dan. It flows for 4 miles before joining the second largest source of the Jordan River, the Bema Spring. Together, the four sources, also the Eon and the Hashbonai of the Jordan River, drain a total of more than 2,700 square kilometers. The migration of the tribe of Dan is found in Judges chapter 17, verse 1 through 18:31. The Danites conquered the city of Laish and renamed it Dan and set up for themselves graven images and idols. On the northern frontier of the kingdom, Dan was particularly well fortified. This gatehouse was built in the 9th century, probably by Ahab, and is part of a series of gateways discovered. This may have been a place for the ruler next to the gate, or a place for an idol to be set up. Here's Mike Pelletier pointing out the idol, just a dumb rock. Second Samuel 18:4 says, "What seemeth best to you I will do." And the king stood by the gate, and all the people came out by hundreds and by thousands. Nearly all archaeologists agree that this excavated podium was the one that Jeroboam constructed to house the golden calf at Dan. Archaeologists now think the platform was roofed. On to Caesarea Philippi, or the Grotto of Pan. Situated 25 miles north of the Sea of Galilee and at the base of Mount Hermon, Caesarea Philippi is the location of one of the largest springs feeding the Jordan River. Apparently known as Baal Hermon and Baal Gad in the Old Testament period, this site later was named Panias after the Greek god Pan, who was worshipped here. The spring emerged from the large cave, which became the center of pagan worship. Beginning in the 3rd century BC, sacrifices were cast into the caves as offerings to the god Pan. Adjacent to the sacred cave is a rocky escarpment with a series of hewn niches. We know that statues of the deity were placed in these niches by depictions of such on coins of the city. Mark 8:27 says, "And Jesus went out and his disciples into the towns of Caesarea Philippi, and by the way he asked his disciples, saying unto them, Who do men say that I am?"
Before I do my brief little devotional, last time I was here, our guy told us he thought that this was the gates of hell, and our guy here mentioned many people think that's the gates of hell. And the significance.
Abraham's Gate, or the Canaanite Gate. The ancient structure from the Canaanite period of the Bronze Age is made of mud and is thought to have been built around 1750 BCE. The authority named the archaeological site for Abraham, the first patriarch of the Jewish people, indicating that it dates from the period of Abraham. The Nimrod Fortress. This is the Jordan River. The English name for the castle mistakenly associates it with Nimrod, an ancient figure of Greek strength mentioned in Genesis 10, 8 through 9. This is one of the castles that was built by the Muslims, but it changed hands several times in the 12th century. The fortress was strengthened in the 13th century, and most remains visible today are from that period. The mountain is over 400 meters or 1,300 feet long, and in places its width reaches 150 meters or 450 feet. The summit rises to an elevation of 800 meters or 2,600 feet above sea level. The castle is also known as the Citadel of the Mosquitoes, since swarms tend to rise up at times and cover the entire area. The high hills are the refuge for the wild goats and the rocks for the conies or connies.